What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade. Basketball analysis coming to y'all with a video today on Saturday. I didn't forget about y'all. Had to watch the playoffs. Pretty good games today overall. But I want to talk about a game yesterday because people say, Quinn, you're a Paul George guy. You're a Paul George believer. You think he's this good. You think he's that. When he was in OKC, that got put out in the first round. He didn't play well. He got to the Eastern Conference Finals twice in Indy, but they didn't have that much competition to get there. He's a guy that has finished in the MVP voting, made it to All NBA first team, but is he really a number one? He proved that he's not a number one. He's a good number two. If playoff P, is it real? Is he underrated or overrated? And can he really be good enough to help Kawhi Leonard win a championship in the bubble? That's what we're going to talk about today because I do got love for Paul George. I do know Paul George personally. And it is pretty crazy because he is a streaky shooter. And one of my biggest criticisms is the one that we all would agree on. I'm a Paul George fan. I do have love for him, but that's something that's undeniable. You have to state the obvious. Paul George does have games where he can shoot you in, he can shoot you out, and if he's really clicking and cooking, he'll blow you out. And when you combine that with Lou Williams, Kawhi Leonard, and these other guys that can get hot and play off of each other and complement each other, the Clippers are a tough team to defend and a tough team to stay in front of because a lot of their guys can break down and get their own shot, whether it's off the dribble or even getting all the way to the basket or creating opportunities from other drives that they do. So, do they need Paul George to be a dominant player, maybe against the Lakers? Because that's their biggest competition in the Western Conference. People don't look at the Mavericks as a team that can literally beat the Clippers. And then you go to the second round, you're not really scared of that either if you're the Clippers. You might be afraid of the Bucks or the Lakers. Those are the three teams that we all feel are the best teams in the NBA. And I do think that if Paul George is in those series, he is going to have games where he might not shoot it that well. But if he can defend and he can allow them to switch everything like we seen Houston do, they still do got a closer in Lou and Kawhi. They got enough guys on this team that can make things happen. And that's one thing that I side with Paul George on. When you think about the Clippers, you think about a team that's coached by Doc Rivers, a guy that knows how to get his guys open, how to utilize and get the role players in the right spots on the court. And that's why they made it to the playoffs without Tobias Harris or another superstar on the team and took the Golden State Warriors, the Western Conference champions last year, with Kevin Durant playing some of his best individual ball to 6 games. And I think they can do that too this year. The only difference is they got upgraded talent in a deeper roster, and that favors them if somebody goes down or somebody has a bad game. You don't have to really depend on one person to carry you like you would see him do in Indiana, where you couldn't rely on Roy, you couldn't rely on David West, you couldn't rely on Lance consistently to give you dominant performance. They was good defensively. They played together, but they wasn't dominant scorers like a Kawhi Leonard or a Lou Williams can be when they're filling in, when they're hot. And that's where I disagree with the fans on, you don't need Paul George to be a 30-point scorer to win a title with this team. You just need him to be able to defend at a high level and make shots when he's open and create shots when he's in a situation or depending on what lineup is out there to be able to do those small little things and then in the fourth quarter just be there just to be a distraction. And if he's knocking down shots, that's even better because like I said, this team has multiple guys that can get their own shot. They don't need Paul George to be Scotty where he's setting up guys and making people better. He don't need to do that because they got so many guys that play well off each other and complement each other already that they can just be in their spot or they can let other guys create their shot or play in the pick and roll and give everybody their spots and allow them to go one-on-one and do their thing. So that's one thing that I disagree with the fans, and I agree with Paul George in. They don't need him to be a 30-point scorer. And even when he got traded to the Clippers, I didn't think Paul George would be a 25, 30-point scorer just because he was coming off injury and surgery. And on top of that, he never played with these guys before on a team coached by Doc Rivers. And Kawhi Leonard was new being added to this roster too. And as the season continued to go on, they added more pieces around them, and then they needed more chemistry that way. So the Clippers are up 2-1. Hopefully they can handle their business on Sunday. And other than that, we'll see how things happen. But I see what people saying. The fans not wrong. Paul George is not wrong. We just have to realize this isn't Paul George's team. This isn't the Pacers. When Danny Granger went out, Paul George stepped up and that was his team. This is not the case for the Clippers. This is Kawhi Leonard's team. And he's a good complementary player, a good all-star caliber player, which he has been on that level throughout this season when he was healthy and playing with them. They can play well together. They can play off each other well. And if Paul George knock down a couple timely threes or make the right play or just play hard defensively and help the team out, that might be enough to beat anybody in the entire NBA when you look at this team and what they're capable of when healthy and playing at their highest level. No wonder why everybody has this team as the favorite, not to win the West, but to win the title. And it's not because of just Paul George. It's because of everybody that can contribute and the coaching skills of Doc Rivers and a legendary, iconic player that Kawhi Leonard might become several years later. And the more championships he win and the MVPs that he win, he's going to start becoming in that conversation as one of the greatest players to ever do it, as he's only 29 and he did miss some playoffs and he did miss a season and miss a lot more games throughout these seasons because he's been in and out. But when Kawhi Leonard is doing damage, nobody can stop him, nobody can guard him, and he's feeling it. And then you got Lou, then you got Reggie Jackson, then you got Landry Shamet, Montrezl Harrell, Paul George. Sprinkle that in with some Zubac and stuff like that, you're good. You'll be straight. You'll be fine. They don't need Paul George to be a 30-point scorer. He'll be fine giving you 20 to 25. And he can do that still, whether he's shooting great or not. You just need Paul George to be a threat on the court. And that's something that he's always going to be because people have respect for what he has done throughout his career up until this point. And even in the seeding games and even in the regular season games, Paul George still showed that he can play at an all-star level when everybody's clicking. So I think we all seeing it, we all hearing it, we all admitting this, we all admitting that, even Paul George keeping it real. But let's just calm down a little bit and just see what the Clippers are going into round two, depending on how long it takes them to go against the Mavericks. I think the Mavericks are a good test for the Clippers just because it's going to force them to take defense serious. It's going to force them to trust each other, and it's going to force them to play with each other and play with each other in a chemistry way because they're going to need one another to pick apart this Dallas defense and also keep them where they can keep them at bay, build a cushion, and just smooth and close them out. So this is a challenge. This is not going to be easy. This is going to be tough. It's called the Western Conference. So like Paul George said, no team, even Portland won a game, and it was close in the game today against the Lakers. It's going to be easy to beat. So let's calm down a little bit. Let's see how things play out, and let's see if Paul George can be a difference maker in the series. Can he help them win a couple games in the series? And if he does one of those two, he done his job because he's no longer the number one option currently on this team. So that's all I really got to say. Not trying to defend Paul George, not trying to say the fans are wrong. I'm listening to both sides. Some sides have the right answer. Paul George gave you the right response. I know y'all want more out of him because he is Paul George. He talks a big talk. He plays very, dangerous offensively with his shot selection, and his efficiency can be low, but he still is one of the best players in the league. He may not be the number one option. He may not lead this team to a title, but you're not asking him to do that either. And that's why I think we need to hold on, let him do his thing, let him play his game, and see how far the Clippers go. And if they win a title, nobody's going to care how bad Paul George won anyway, because the goal is to play good enough to get a good seed, to be able to get the good advantages in the playoffs, and be able to compete for a title. And if they get to the finals and they do win it, Paul George will be a champion. And then we'll see what they can do next year, or see if he can play what level that he needs to play to get this team to where they got to go, which is to the NBA Finals, and then finish it off. So let's all just take a breather. Let's all relax. Let's all throw some bull out the window. Let's all get some understanding. We ain't nobody disagreeing. Ain't nobody fighting. We all good. We all got good energy. We all admitting. We all feeling things. and we all should be fine at the end of the day. But Paul George is going to have to shoot better. He's going to have to score better. That's true. But they also up 2-1 with him shooting like that. My whole point. So at the end of the day, check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link in the description, comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link in the description, comment section below. Like on Facebook to show support. Thanks for everybody that likes on Facebook. Also, like this video and subscribe and check out my older videos. I have over 1,000 videos on my channel. Click the link and it'll allow you to see my videos. If you like this video or like my older videos, I don't see why you wouldn't subscribe. Also, I make discussions just like this. I talk about free agency, trade deadline, NBA draft, season previews, top 10 lists, cover the NBA draft, cover Summer League, does breakdowns of players, legends, rookies, and Summer League breakdowns. So if you love basketball, you can't get enough, you need that daily fix, this is the channel for you because I offer the content and it's all for free. So don't forget that. And the best way to help this channel and give back to it is like and share. The more people see it, the more people that can see it, the more people I can get in, the more people I get in, help the channel grow. And that's a small thing I ask you guys to do to help the channel out. Other than that, if you want to buy merchandise, my spread shirt will be in the description in the comment section below. Not only that, you can find it on my Facebook page. I got many pictures of the shirts that I sell. So if you want a hat, you want a shirt, you want to change the color of the hat, the color of the logo on the hat, or both, you can message me how you want the shirt to look, the logo to be, and I can get it shipped out for you. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking it out. Enjoy the playoffs. Enjoy y'all weekend. And at the end of the day, I'll be coming to y'all with another video on Sunday because I try to make a video each and every day. And that's why you should subscribe. But other than that, Quinn Wade, Basketball Analysis, I'm gone, and I'll be back tomorrow.